Ben Natanzon, Ben, this past year, the 2015-2016 season, you were the world's #1 ranked junior saber fencer. I mean, at what point in your life did you realize that was an achievable goal?
You know, I think that it's a really tough question because I still am a little, it was a kind of a fleeting moment. It's transient. It wasn't, I didn't ever think that, it was going to happen so quickly, but it really does happen so quickly and it can go away so quickly. I think that I was more focused on how I was fencing, which really benefited me. And I think, I started focusing more later on. I started getting a little more cocky, maybe a little more confident, which I should have probably done less of. Because, as quick as I became #1, then I dropped to #2, then #3. I think right now I'm like #3, which is still, amazing, but it's not something that I'm thinking about because anyone in the top 30 is good and can honestly win on a given day if they're feeling it. So,
and with that focus on fencing, where does that come from? You're in 2 programs that have incredibly strong histories and traditions of success. You're at MFC with Yuri Gelman, who's coached a line of Olympians, who also, with current Olympian, 2-time Olympian Daryl Homer, also at St. John's. How much of mentorship occurs within the club and with those St. John's alum?
Honestly, I would say a ton. I'd say one thing I love about St. John's and MFC is that I love that I could talk to Daryl, I could talk to Dagmara Wozniak, another Olympian who went to St. John's. Keith Smart, Ivan Lee, all these people. I could talk to them all the time if I have questions. They're always super open to help me. And it's not just if I'm panicking, I could talk to them about mental plans, about what I could bring to the table, what I should eliminate from my fencing repertoire, for example. And I think it makes for a very tight-knit community. It really benefits the fencers if you're motivated to fence.
As you were growing up, and maybe even now still, that you're following the footsteps of all the greats you just named, who is it that kind of stands out most to you, either with their fencing, their leadership, their mentorship, that really kind of has guided you personally?
Personally, I'd have to say Daryl Homer. Daryl's been a huge friend, and he's definitely a role model for me. I look at his fencing since I was young, and it's always been what I aspire to be. His mental state, fencing him at the club, it's never easy. It's always, heated. We almost never have nice bouts where it's touching touches. It's always very heated. But I like that because really, I think if he didn't fence me with the intention to kick my butt, I don't think I would evolve as a fencer. So I really appreciate that he goes so hard on me. I think that it helps me grow.
And with having kind of that level of accountability, but also that notion of steel sharpens steel right at the club, pushing you day after day, how does that translate to your confidence to be able to move from junior world #1 to senior world #1 in the coming years?
I think it's a slow process for me personally. Some people, they could transition really well. We'll see. I'm still yet to go to so many senior World Cups. I've definitely been to 10 or under, but I think I'm definitely going to start to go to more. I think that I just have to constantly change my mental state. I think that, you can't do the same thing and expect yourself to stay as #1. Fencing, it's always changing. It's very fast-paced.
As we see with the rules today.
Of course, exactly. I think you're always going to have to bring new things to the table. You're always going to have to think differently, try different strategies, and see what works for you. Take from everything, bring it into one, and I think eventually you'll grow and achieve the goals that you set for yourself.
That taking, learning, growing, going back to Daryl specifically, what are you taking from him that you see every day that you hope to apply to your fencing to continue making those gains?
I'd say I take his confidence. One, I love how confident Daryl is on and off the strip. Definitely his passion. He's so passionate about the sport, and he tries to motivate everyone. I try to fence people that are younger than me and need guidance. I try to fence them the way Daryl fences me, so I can kind of
continue
light
paying
the
it
fire,
forward.
motivate them to try to get better. Because I really think that it's very important for a role model, for an older person who's more experienced, who's very talented, for them to motivate the younger generation. So I hope to continue doing that, like Daryl's doing for me and other people, and Keep Smart did for Daryl.
With Daryl's fencing being an incredibly explosive, incredibly athletic fencer, how do you use that to influence your particular style, which is maybe a bit more, I don't know, you're just much more deliberate and kind of conservative, not that Daryl isn't, but there's definitely a difference in pace.
I think no matter how much time I spend in the gym or do anything, you know, Daryl is Daryl. He's always going to have that explosive take. He's so naturally, physically talented. You have to learn, like, from a young age, I guess, that you kind of have to find your own rhythm. I definitely try to incorporate, let's say, plunging. I know he has such a fast, explosive plunge. I try to incorporate that in my fencing. I try to incorporate tactics that he uses. Let's say, for example, if you watch him fencing 2015 World Championships with Romanian Delencianu, tactically is so smart. He'll go for a close distance, circle 5 riposte, next touch, fake 5 close distance, jump 2 riposte. I mean, beautiful fencing. Tactically, it makes
Huge
so
wheelhouse of techniques.
Absolutely. I like to take actions that he does, try to imitate them, see if they work for me. Definitely, for sure.
Well, things have definitely worked up to this point. Best wishes going forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it.